Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, December the 8th, 2022. Thursday, December the 8th, 2022. And today was just okay. We dealt quite a bit with it, Ryan and Ryan's world. This was the day that Jordan wanted to question him. And remember, the deal was he said he would only answer questions if Ava would be there. So Jordan got there and his caregiver guy was there to work with him. And he let him know, no, the deal's off. And Jordan's like, wait, why? And then all of a sudden, Ava came running in because his thing was, no, I only agreed to talk to you if the love or the obsession of my life is here. So she came walking in. She goes, sorry, running in traffic. Oh my goodness. All right. And she goes, let's get these eyes to blinking. I like Ava. She's too cute to me. So he was trying to compliment her. Oh, you look beautiful today. She goes, wait, I'm not here for that. No. You answer police questions and stick to that, right? So Jordan shows him the letter that the killer sent to Alexis. And they were asking him, do they feel that Esme is the killer? And he said, no. Well, his caregiver translated, I don't know how they got time to go through every letter in the alphabet to figure out, but okay, and he said, no, because of the wording in the letter. Esme's a loner. She wouldn't use the terms she wouldn't use the term me and mine or what's mine, whatever it is, possession of someone else, and that's not Esme. And so Jordan was like, she didn't say too much, but she ended up telling Ava and Sonny at the end that's her police officers were having a problem, the detectives were having a problem with the words of someone messing with what's mine, me and mine. And that was what's stumping them. That didn't fit Esme's MO. So Ava was like, so is Esme not a suspect anymore? And Sonny was there, and I tell you what Sonny was doing there. Sonny is turning back into mob boss Sonny, okay? So she says, no, it doesn't exclude Esme. What Jordan says, but look, what this is telling us is we should not put our sole focus that this killer is only Esme. We have to be open and go look at all the leads, look at where it's all taking us, that it could be someone else. So are we we're back to either the nanny or Heather. The nanny or Heather. They don't have a problem pinning murders on Heather because she's, Heather will commit a murder. But see, we don't know about this Maggie. And Esme was in contact with Maggie. And we don't know when Esme was in the hospital in Canada, she could have had them write, because she could write. I mean, she recuperated at some point. She could have gotten word to Maggie, and Maggie could have came to her and actually sat bedside with her for a while, and then decided to come and enact revenge. I don't know how they're going to go with that. Don't know how they're going to go with it. It's either Heather. I do honestly believe Heather's going to be her mother. But I don't know that they're going to make Heather be the hook killer. I just don't know that. So I don't know. That kind of has me stumped a bit. But anyway, we have Sonny. Sonny is talking to the guard that's guarding Heather. And I guess Sonny was instrumental to the guard's dad getting into Turning Woods. That's that senior, I think that's the the Alzheimer's facility that Mike was in, because he goes, thank you so much. You were a big help in helping us get our dad in there. And he goes, your dad was a good man. He worked for me for years. And I was trying to figure out, well, who was his dad? Because I only know of 2 African Americans that worked for Sonny. One, and now I cannot think of his name. It's been so long. Epiphany's son. Epiphany's son worked for Sonny and didn't work for Sonny. Epiphany's son was a Spinelli. He did the computers in the van. Jason, he really worked more with Jason than he did Sonny, but he was the tech guy for Sonny. What was Epiphany's son's name? If anybody can think of Epiphany's son's name, can you put it in the comments for tomorrow? It's not Sam. His name wasn't Sam. Anyway, it was him and Brick. Those are the only 2. So I mean, goodness, how did his father work for Sonny for years? But okay, you know, Sonny does have a big organization, right? We just don't know what that guy did. So anyway, he lets Sonny inside to go see Heather. And he goes in all mob bossy on her, scares her, saying, I hear that you can identify the guard in the transport. She's like, yep. And she just described Dex to a T, said, I would know him. I'd know him again if I saw him. Yep. And Sonny looked at her and he goes, see, that's a problem. That's a problem. And he stands up because first he was at the foot of her bed and she's sitting up in her bed. He walks around the side of the bed and he sits down on the bed and she's kind of trying to squish over to the end of the bed like, oh my God, what you doing? What you doing, Sonny? You know? And he goes, see, the cops can't find Anna Devane and I want it to stay that way. You got me? Sonny did that evil smile of his. And she's like, listen. And then he gave her the stare down. So in the picture, he's giving her the stare down. And she goes, you know, I'm telling you, I am so bad with faces. The guy that I was describing to you a moment, you know, that could have been one of the nurses at GH. I am so bad with that. Oh my goodness. You know, I honestly, I can't remember the guy now that you mention it. And he's like, good. He said, because you know what? Even in minimum security, although I could have swore Darkham was maximum security, right? Where she's at right now at Spring Ridge is minimum security, but maximum is Darkham. And so he goes, even in minimum security, things happen to people. She's like, oh, I bet they do. I bet, yep, I bet they do. He goes, good talkers, whatever he said to her. And he gets up and he walks out and she was like, she's mad because she was going to try to use the knowledge she had as leverage so that she could stay in Spring Ridge longer. So at the end, guess who has stolen guards' keys and ended up going into Ryan's room? Heather Weber. And he looks at her, his eyes are like, why, I oughta. He's looking at her and she goes, hello, lover. And I thought, okay, let's see if we get some juicy talking tomorrow, because tomorrow's Cliffhanger Friday. So let's see, what does she let out of, you know, their story and their history, and because, you know, he's still probably going to pretend right now that he can't speak to her. Maybe the second time she sneaks in, he's going to surprise her by unvelcroing himself, jumping up and choking her with one hand, you know. But that's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow between Ryan and Heather. I think that's the best storyline for me. Now, we have, guess who was on the other side of that door? So I guess Valentin would say, you, Martin. Martin followed Valentin's paper trail, saw where he bought his ticket to. Still don't know how he found out the person that, the contact that Valentin was going to contact. How did he find that person's name? But anyway, Martin was able to find them, which my whole thing is, if Marty could find you, Valentin, Uncle Victor could have followed and found you, because Uncle Victor is smarter. But unfortunately, Marty led the feds, because they were following him, to Valentin, right? So it ended up working out because they were on their way there. Okay, so Martin comes, he's insisting he's going with them, and he's like, I knew you would lead me to Lucy's killer. And he's like, for the last time, I didn't kill Lucy, and he was beginning to believe she didn't. He really was. And so they go, Martin, look, we have it on good authority that Lucy is not dead. We are going to find Lucy. Well, I'm going, well, who's the authority? We can't say who the authority is, but we're going to try to find Lucy. So Martin was set to go with them, which would have been bad because he's not equipped for espionage. He really isn't. Matter of fact, he kept them standing there too long arguing with him. So they ended up having to use him as a decoy to get out the house. But that crooked federal agent, Crook, when Martin said, no, wait a minute, because the other person, because they're in, I think, Ireland, maybe, he says, listen, we have no jurisdiction here, nor do we have a search warrant. And he goes, you let me worry about that. So Martin opens the door, and the guy says, let us in. And he goes, excuse me, but no. Do you have a search warrant? And the guy is like, we are searching for Anna Devane, and they kind of like bully their way in. And we have it on good authority she's here, and you're aiding and abetting. He goes, no. I am here on vacation. And they're like, in Ireland. He goes, I am grieving, and I wanted to get some solace here. And so the other guy comes and he goes, we need to start searching the rest of the premises. And Martin looked and said, you know what, I'm gonna ask you guys this one more time. And he holds his hand out to the other agent that's with the crooked Fed guy. He says, let me have the warrant. And the guy looked at him and says, well, we don't have one. And Martin says, oh, well, you guys need to see yourself on the other side of the door. Because, see, I didn't invite you in. And so the other guy goes, he goes, but I can get one. He goes, again, you don't have one. You both need to see yourself on the other side of the door. So the other guy goes out, but the crooked Fed, to me, I'm telling you, is he on Victor's payroll, right? He hangs back. And do you know he threatens to shoot Martin? And Martin said, for one, I'm not resisting anything. What ground and what cause would you ever have of shooting me? And I know you don't plan on committing murder when there's, other officers right outside. I don't have a weapon. He goes, I could shoot you and not kill you. And he goes, because bottom line, it'd be your word against mine. And I'm thinking, wait, So Valentin comes from one side, says, look, Anna Devane is not here. I'm looking for her too. And he's like, oh, you expect me to believe that Anna Devane is not here? The federal agent is saying that. And so then Anna goes, Doesn't matter what you believe, put the gun down. She has a gun poking him in his back with the gun. And she goes, put your hands up where I could see him. Because all this time, he had his hand cocked on his gun to shoot Martin. So he's like, I forget what he said. And as he's talking to Anna, she cold cocks him on the back of the head and bam, he hits the ground. And so Martin's like, whoa, wow. And so they said, okay, now we got to go. That Martin says, but how are we going to get past all of these agents out there? And so Anna says, well, you're going to have to invite them in. And it's like, what? Because they're letting him, no, you're going to stay here while we get away and invite them in. So he's like, help, somebody help. And so a few of them, a bunch of agents come running in, right? He suddenly collapsed. I don't know. And he hit his head. Thinking, she hit him on the back of the head. He's falling like this. How did he hit the back of his head? He's like, he had a heart attack. He had a stroke. He had something, but he just hit the ground. He needs an ambulance. So the guy comes to and he's saying, arrest that man. And Martin's like, I don't know what he's talking. So I don't know what he's talking about. So we all know Martin's going to get off on that because for one, they didn't even have a warrant. And it's his word against Martin's. Martin's standing right there yelling for help, you know. So that was kind of cute. Finn and Elizabeth, completely boring. I fast forwarded their whole conversation. Well, not the whole conversation, but it wasn't enough that I'm going to talk about it. Look, felt good in each other's arms, but because I'm responsible for your wife's death, we can't be together because I don't see how you could possibly forgive me. You were happily married and I put it, oh, shut up. And he goes, Elizabeth, it was not your fault. And one thing that Finn told Alexis, which made more sense. Yes, he and Reiko were in Doctors Without Borders or whatever, you know, I think it was Doctors Without Borders. But they were assigned to different islands. They rarely saw each other, which is what gave Jeff Weber the end on his wife. That made more sense because it's like, how did Finn never even know Elizabeth or her family? That's because they were assigned to different islands, you know. So that kind of tied up that little bitty, itty bitty loose end, right? So we have Mark. Now Finn hasn't noticed the prenatal vitamins yet on Terry's desk that they're the exact same kind. He will tomorrow. Now Rory has taken Trina out on a nice dinner, and it is the Port Charles Grill, right? Now, why would any fancy restaurant be called a grill? I don't know. You know, maybe the Port Charles Chalet, the Port Charles Bistro, the Port Charles whatever. But the Port Charles Grill. So anyway, they're having a nice dinner and he's just googling over her, telling her how beautiful he is, and she is, and she's laughing, and he wants her to take her on the tour of the museum she's working at. It's doing a huge exhibit, and she's talking all about it. And then now they're at dessert, and he wants her to come over and meet his family. Remember, we were saying, well, who's Rory's family? We don't know nothing about these folks. Well, guess what? He wants Trina to meet all of his family because he has a big family. She's nervous, but she did agree to go. She agreed she would go. So they're getting ready to have dessert, and Rory ends up telling her he loves her. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, what did you say? Because she's digging in that little chocolate dessert thingy. And he goes, I said, I love you. And she's like, wait, huh? And Spencer and Victor had walked through the door. We don't know if Spencer heard it or not. You know, because Roy wasn't yelling it through the restaurant, I love you, Trina Robinson. He wasn't doing all that, right? So Spencer was probably just shocked to see Trina there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. She's going to see Spencer. So she'll see him tomorrow. But he was upset because, see, he's torn. He didn't want to go to Spoon Island because he did not want to be staying with his father until Nicholas didn't want him there. And then Spencer's like, see, once it's like, no, Spencer, you didn't want to stay there, remember? But Victor's like, no, we're gonna all be together under one roof for the holidays because that's a condition of it. That's a condition of his release. And Nicholas is like, well, you know what? I'm happy he's out, but things are too volatile between me and my son still, and I want to build a solid relationship. And Spencer's like, oh, so that's code for you're back with Ava. See, oh, she forgave you for sleeping with my girlfriend that fast, like she has no self-respect, blah, blah. He's just going off on Ava. And Victor says, Ava and Nicholas are getting a divorce. And Spencer was like, what? And Nicholas just looks at him. And he goes, but do you see how you already started in already? That's further proof that we should not be living under the same roof yet. We need to rebuild our relationship slowly. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that is true. They are oil and water right now. They should not be under the same roof. And so he goes, well, I'll just go stay at the Metro Court. And Nicholas is like, good idea. And Victor's like, but he's in my custody. So he goes, well, I guess, Uncle Victor. Nicholas is like, you're going to have to just go stay with him, right? So Nicholas got them both out of the house. They're both going to stay at the Metro Court. Okay. So he tells Spencer, let's go to the Port Charles Grill and have a really good dinner. So that's exactly where they go, and that's where they run into Trina and Rory having lunch. Now, yesterday I forgot to mention, Dante and Sam, or was that today? And I just didn't want to write it down. I think it was yesterday. Dante and Sam they met Corey, or they ran into Corey at the Port Charles Grill. And he was already drunk at the counter. And Sam ends up taking a call, and he ends up talking to Dante. And Dante's like, well, you know what? You're always getting into trouble and this, that, and the other. And then finally, Cody said, Sam is looking into my sealed records. And Dante's like, wait, what? I told Sam to leave that alone. And Cody is like, yep, I don't think she is. And we both know that if she gets into those sealed records, a lot's going to come out that you and I both don't want out. And Dante looked like, okay. So it is some secret they got that when they were young and when they were juveniles, and that they don't want to come out. But let's be real. They were juveniles. Their records are sealed. Cody probably did whatever juvenile time for it, because Olivia never mentioned Dante in any kind of trouble like that, right? And what do they think, like, what does Dante think Sam would feel about that? Because Sam was something else younger. She was something else when she first got to Port Charles. She was a con woman and a thief. No, Sam can't throw stones at anybody. She can't. She cannot throw any stones. So, but we'll see what's going to happen, what's going to come out. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm not really interested in that. I'm not really interested in that story. Anything from the past like that, why? Why do we even need to go there? I don't get that. So let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. I'm gonna breeze right through these comments. Deborah says, I don't trust Rory. Trina is out of touch with Josh and Cam. I know the friends don't get together, right? So glad Spencer is out of jail, but Uncle Victor has an agenda for Spencer. Cyrus is going to help Spencer. He knows Victor is bad. I know we got the bad and the badder. And which one is actually the badder, right? I don't know. I don't know. And then Nikisha says, on The Bold and the Beautiful, they did have a suicide. You are right. Storm Logan, played by the same actor as the recent Julian Jerome. Storm shot himself in the hospital. His sister Katie was in the same hospital dying and needed a heart transplant. Storm killed himself to give Katie his heart. They haven't undone that story, and Katie and the family still reference Katie's having Storm's heart to this current day. Yeah. I do remember. I wasn't watching The Bold and the Beautiful, but I do know, and I have heard them reference that the few times I would peek in on the show. Nakisha says, how long before Spencer sees Trina and Rory together? Today he did. And we get even more distance between the lovebirds. So, or shall I say turtle doves? This Chemo Beauty says, I think the person Valentin and Anna might see would be Martin. Might be Martin. You were right, this Chemo Beauty. Now I really want to know what Cody and Dante got into when they were young boys. Finn is really getting on my nerves. All in Nicholas' house like he was the police and just barging into Terry's office without knocking. Great recap. And Deborah says, Finn was right. Esme is there. No one else did this. Check Spoon Island. Hello, she was on the dock where the launch is for Spoon Island, especially when Elizabeth was attacked at the launch. Then Nicholas acts funny when Finn said to him he would go to the police. Wonder what Finn thought when he saw the prenatal pills. I know. I think he doesn't know what to think yet, right? And then Robin says, Spencer and Cyrus have a bond now. Victor can hang it up. It's too late to break it up. And Ariana says, yes, yay, Spencer is out. I felt for Cyrus. I love his character. It would be cool if Cyrus took Victor out, I know. Yes, Nicholas should have just picked up the bottle and showed it to Finn and said, and Elizabeth too. I mean, they both like placed it perfectly for anybody and everybody to see. They had prenatals here. Great recap, daily recap, lady. I feel your pain. I think that Anna and Valentin are going to get help from a surprise person. It was Martin Gray. Someone wouldn't occur to them to help. Oh, someone we wouldn't occur to him to help, and that's Martin. Over time, the writers have humanized the character of Britt. I will be fit to be tied if the writers take the easy way out and have her commit suicide. Now, after all the great writing to build the character up, thank you for a great recap. That was from Adriana. And then Deborah says, Cyrus gave turtle doves to Spencer. I think he could have put listening devices in. You know what? That could be possible. Cyrus says he has ears everywhere. Victor will be surprised when Cyrus knows his plan. That would be interesting, but Cyrus's man sweeps for bugs every 20 minutes, but maybe Spencer will always have those turtle doves on him in a pocket or something. That could be interesting. Anna Rihanna says, Deborah Doman, oh my. I don't think of that far. However, I can see being very creative and very, very Cyrus. Oh yeah. Oh no, you were talking about Deborah, the other commenter. Yeah, very, very Cyrus. Cyrus is one of my all-time GH favorite villains. So he can get in front of Victor and take him out, and I am all for it. You know what was interesting though? Like Cyrus said, here's a gift to give to Trina. Spencer could never tell Trina who it came from because remember, he held Trina and Portia at gunpoint. Cyrus did that. So yeah, you can't say my Uncle Cyrus gave these to you. She'd be like, oh, take these things back. Carrie Joe said, maybe when Cyrus gets out, he'll get together with Spencer and they can both take him down, talking about Victor. Cyrus absolutely is looking for his sister's love, and it's Spencer's grandma who he loves to death. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so Laura is both of them. And then Hello There said, Ryan probably raped Heather way back, then went to jail, and she had Esme. They gave her away, or she gave her away because obviously she couldn't raise her in prison, or that Heather went to jail. Heather's been in and out of jail so much it's not even real. Well, yes, it is real. Jeff looked like he knew Ryan. I think everybody knew Ryan. Maybe from Doctors Without Borders. Remember that Ryan first came to Port Charles in 1992 as a doctor at GH. Really? Ryan was a doctor with his brother Kevin? So that in the 80s, when Ryan would have been in his 20s. I didn't know Ryan was a doctor. You know what, GH fans? Help me out with that. So Kevin was a psychiatrist and what, Ryan was a doctor? What kind of doctor was Ryan? I didn't know that. So kind of in the comments, give me a little history. Ryan would know how to use venom to hurt someone. Finn also knew about the venom because but maybe somehow Ryan was the supplier to Reiko. I don't know. Or to whomever was distributing it, which explains how Heather got it recently when Finn diagnosed her at GH. Yeah, but Heather is just now running back into Ryan, so Ryan had nothing to do with giving her anything. I don't know. Jeff probably knew about Ryan with the poison, but not Finn. There's something funky about that venom, which I think may help finally lead to the hook killer between the unlikely duo of Finn and Jeff. But Jeff is gone. Once Finn gets wind of it, he's going to enlist Chase for help. He will solve the case and get back on the force. I hope something helps Chase get back on the force. Ron says Victor on The Young and the Restless, when his first wife tried to kill him, he had to eat rats. Okay, Ron. That was just some YNR blast from the past. We're talking GH. I mean, what this comment here, you're relating it to, like, what part of GH story? Because are we talking about when people did stuff to other people? And then Jane says, and Esme Elizabeth, that's why her mom and dad are so distant. What? And Esme Elizabeth. Yeah, Jane, somehow that comment's a little typos. I think I can't tell what you were trying to say. Jane also said Elizabeth was raped when she was young and they never found her rapist. It's Ryan. They did find Elizabeth's rapist a number of years ago now. She was traumatized when the guy came back to town. Franco was on GH at that time. Franco was going to kill the guy. And Elizabeth stopped him from murdering her rapist. Yeah, they brought that rapist back to town, and he still wasn't a good person. But Elizabeth would not let Franco kill him. So anyway, that's Comment Corner. Comment Corner. Thank you for those comments. And that is the end of the Young and the Restless. Today's daily recap. Oh, I said Young and the Restless, y'all. Look, General Hospital. General Hospital. That is the end of the daily recap for GH. And I will be back tomorrow. We should have some good stuff going on tomorrow.